Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, Xbox, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Oh, hello. Daddy DWALLY here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 14. As always, I'm joined by the assistant to the co-host, which is Chipobear. Chipobear, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great, Daddy DWALLY. As always, Sunday night, getting ready for a big week. Teachers come back tomorrow, but of course, looking forward to some time with you fine gentlemen to discuss all things Xbox and the good old days. So, doing great, man.
Yes. So luckily, guys, we are in for a special episode. We are going to be talking about some things that we personally wanted to talk about for a while now, since there's very little news. But I've got some beef with my next person I need to introduce here. The next person, I don't even want to say his name right now because I'm angry. This assistant to the co-host told me the other day in the nerd chat that the Ascent is not anything like Diablo 3. And just so you guys know, I did the right thing, and you're already thinking this. I immediately fired him. But luckily, for some reason, I invited him back. But again, he said it was nothing like Diablo 3, you guys, the Ascent, which is an action RPG, and so is Diablo. A 3/4 view, so is Diablo. And when you transform Diablo to controls, it becomes a twin-stick shooter. Joining us, unfortunately, again, as always, is the assistant to the co-host, is Bubble Boy in 7. Bubble Boy, what do you have to say to yourself about digging into the Ascent in comparison to Diablo?
I think then at this point, everything has to be an RPG. No video game is not an RPG at this point, right? Because you are playing a role as someone that you are not. So sure, Madden is an RPG now, right?
Forza
Forza's an RPG. I played a little flight simulator the other day. That's an RPG.
I think you're getting hung up on the RPG thing, but you are playing a role, and you are customizing your character and unlocking certain powers or things. How is this not?
Because
I think you're more hung up on the RPG, and that's fine. But it is an action. It is literally the definition of an action RPG.
As someone who has dabbled a little bit in tabletop RPGs, the classes are a huge thing, and there's no classes in the Ascent. And just the camera view, I guess, because first-person shooters are literally a camera view. So sure. Plus, I just like arguing with you. If I haven't upset you on any given day, I feel like, what am I doing with my life, right?
It's true, folks.
Right.
That's all they do.
Thanks for that,
like siblings.
Again, I'm taking applications again out there, guys. So if you're interested, the third seat is now back to intern. He was on the show. He's back to intern, to the assistant to the co-host. So guys, like I mentioned earlier, I'm so excited. We're going to focus on Game Pass this episode, some controllers. But to mix things up, we've got reader mail right at the beginning. And I'm super excited to hear your input on this, boys. And this comes from our good old friend, Lauren Rasak. Lauren, big fan of the show. She told me that she binge watched all of our YouTube episodes and she thought it was hilarious. She told me this is my best work yet, comparing to my streaming days and my YouTube vlog days with my Subaru WRX STI. She said this tops it all. So thank you, Lauren, for watching all of our stuff. She did
Achievement unlocked to burn through 13-hour plus long YouTube episodes of our three faces is pretty outstanding.
She did say her favorite segment is the best food that we had last week. She loved it. And she also said that we have great chemistry and it shows. So thank you so much for writing in, and thank you for being a fan, Lauren. Big shout out to Lauren. You can follow her. Well, I don't remember all her names, but she's out there and she should be streaming. She's
just
on
search
Xbox
Lauren.
too.
I'm sure it will come up.
What's her name on Xbox? It's like, I can't forget. I'll have to look it up while we talk about this. But anyway, reader mail. Lauren writes in and says, "Hey guys, big fan of the show. Your chemistry is great. I was just wondering, what are your top 3 favorite movies of all time?" Thanks, Laura. Shout out again. So I just wanted to say, this is a little different, right? This is not video games. This is not food, but who cares? This is a great question. And this was very difficult for me because I had to narrow it down to 3 movies. And I did it, boys. And I have a bunch of honorable mentions.
I know one of your top 3, hands down. I can name it right now. Starts with a V.
Jose knows me too well. Do you want me to go first or do you guys want to go?
You go first. You go first.
Okay. So here we go, guys. These are my top 3 movies. And I tried to mix it up and include different genres on there. So number 1, or no, we'll go number 3. Comedy. And this is the best comedy of all time. I said it. Superbad. Superbad, you guys. Every time I watch it, every time I see it on TV, I have to finish it, even if it's edited. Hilarious. I remember seeing this in college at the theaters and it blowing my mind because McLovin, or not McLovin, McLovin was one of them, but what's his name?
Michael Cera, Jonah Hill.
Michael Cera and Jonah Hill. Literally, that was me and Mike Cito in high school in every sense of the way, except we were athletic nerds just like
Were you McLovin? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was probably Michael Cera, and then Cito was Jonah Hill. So, guys, that movie every time, hilarious. Just ahead of its time. The writing, the comedy, the brotherhood, the bonding between the friends. We didn't go to any crazy parties like that, but in college, I kind of was in similar situations. But every situation they were in, I'm like, this was me in high school, just trying to get with a girl. Guys, Superbad, top comedy. I know somebody say Dumb and Dumber. I'm sorry, Superbad. Step Brothers, Superbad. I'm sorry. Every time, it's the best. Number 2, and this is going to be a little surprising to you. I wanted to have an action film on here. Can anyone guess what my action movie is going to be? Chance, let me hear it.
Well, it's got to have Tom Cruise in it. So I'm
correct.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible
2?
3?
I was saying 2 is the worst one ever, and I know you're saying that as a joke. Correct. Mission Impossible Fallout. The one that just came out with Superman in it.
It was
Guys,
really good.
The action scenes in that movie blew me away. And I loved Rogue Nation. I actually think Rogue Nation might be better overall plot wise. I don't know. Actually, the more I think of it, because this continues on Rogue Nation, the action, the fight scenes, bringing back his wife, the whole team aspect, Benji, Ving Rhames, and the actress who's coming back again, who's his new girl partner and potential love interest. I love Mission Impossible Fallout. I thought people don't realize the skydiving scene was legitimate. Like, they added some CGI lightning in there, but that whole thing was legitimately like one take where they filmed it the whole way through. If you watch it, and it's all legit, all real, except for when he lands at the end there, and which is so impressive. The stunts, him breaking his leg. Shout out to Tom Cruise. And again, number 1, Jose called it. He knows it all too well. A not very well liked and well respected movie.
He literally won't shut up about this movie. I just want everyone
Vanilla
to know.
Sky, you guys. Vanilla Sky. Jose was right. Vanilla Sky, a dramatic science fiction. I don't even know how to.
Yeah, you don't even know how to describe it.
That's what makes it so good. No, that's what's so good about it is that it's so unique. No, it's so unique. It's really the nostalgia. I remember seeing this. It was right around 9/11. I think it came out either before or after 2000, I think it was after 9/11. And it was in 2001. And I saw it with my ex-girlfriend at the time. I saw it with old Tina. And I remember I didn't know anything about it going in, and it just blew me away. I don't want to talk about it, Chance, because a lot of people haven't seen it, and I don't want to give it away. Basically, I'll always remember it's a movie about consequences, and that's the best way I can describe it. And it's super deep, and the ending, every time the ending scene comes up, I break down, have tears. Like it for some reason, that movie was just so powerful to me that it sticks with me.
Do you guys remember Jessica, my girlfriend from high school? So that was her favorite movie too.
See, I remember that.
I do remember that.
And I just remember being like, I don't get it. I'm trying so hard. So we'll just watch it. And
I know some people it's hit or miss. Yes, and I don't want to give any more away, guys. If you haven't seen Vanilla Sky,
can we watch Eyes Wide Shut again or something?
No, that's a weird movie.
I'm kidding.
And shout out to, again, this is one of my favorite podcasts, the Meeting Tom Cruise Show. Guys, Jose, if you haven't listened to it, you'd love it. It's hilarious. The comedians who host it, they were talking about Eyes Wide Shut and Stanley Kubrick, right? Like, that movie is weird. I remember seeing that once and being like, this is a weird ass movie. So those are my top 3 movies, gentlemen. Chance, let's go to you next, and we'll close out with Jose. Chance, let's.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is Jose's Super Bowl, right? So
yours gonna be.
We gotta save the best.
Yours is gonna be like Top Gun. Yours is gonna be like cheesy '80s movie. Okay, so let's hear it.
Top Gun, absolutely. And it's funny because I think I go back to the days eating Chipotle Wednesdays in the science department, right, Daniel? And getting in almost fist fights, right? And I think they thought we were joking. I'm like, no, it was the greatest movie ever made. When you think of soundtrack and casting and all those things, it's just a magical film that take their time. If Tom Cruise needs to be 80 when they make the second one and he'll still be looking good doing it, by all means, take your time.
He's eternal. He's a vampire, like immortal. Totally. That's what he is.
And that movie's coming out in November.
Interview with a Vampire, right?
Yeah. It was a documentary.
Yeah. See? Facts. Hashtag facts. No, it's just so good. And you can every song on there is amazing, I feel like, on the soundtrack.
It does
and
have
that's
a great
kind of
soundtrack
hard to
for real.
beat. And you can sing along with every single one of them.
And even the non-singing song, just the guitar riffs and with the music before they take off for the final battle. Oh my!
Remember Guitar Hero 3 when you could play that as one of the hidden songs? Oh, phenomenal.
And then the gosh, was it the first heist, Daniel, on GTA 5 when the heists first came out? And
oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And he had to steal them and everything, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Somebody shut that dog up.
That's Daniel.
Right, now I have to edit this out because Chance doesn't want his kid on
No.
there. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, for now.
See, there we go.
Sorry. So, Top Gun, and the other thing I'll say about Top Gun that's always amazing is I can remember the day DVDs came out. And going to, what was it? I almost said Caddyshack, Radio Shack.
Circuit
City.
Yeah.
That was the one over there off of Wadsworth. And my dad being like, my mom was like, well, we could look at this. And my dad's like, there's only one. We only need one movie for this digital video disc player. And there's only one movie we'll ever need to purchase ever again for it. And that was Top Gun.
I could just picture your dad do so much, dude. That's so funny.
Yep.
Okay, so there's the list for Chance, you guys. It's just literally Top Gun.
Just Top
That's
Gun.
His top 3.
No, and then Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation.
Oh, great choice, dude.
Is just classic. And oh my God, the one-liners from that movie, I could recite the entire thing just like a Seinfeld episode. And it does bring back a lot of memories with family and things like that. And I try not to be judgmental, but I can always be judgmental of a family when their Christmas movie is like a Christmas Story or something. I'm like, that's whack. If it's not Christmas Vacation, then and Ashley's family, of course, it's a Christmas Story, and I'm just like, and I'll give you Elf, right? Like Elf's great, and the Jim Carrey Grinch, and there's some other ones, but nothing will ever hold up to Christmas Vacation. And then the last one, and for 1,000 different reasons that we could spend an entire episode on, but I won't, is The Dark Knight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Selena.
Overrated. I'm going to say right now. I watched it again. It's overrated, dude.
Dude, it's not overrated. It's
at the
such a
end
good
with
movie.
Joker and the whole boat stuff, like it drags
Oh my God.
on.
Oh my God.
Overrated.
Oh my God.
I used to teach
I
a whole
like
lesson
Batman
about
Begins,
it in
actually.
economics. It was such a good movie, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And
drawn out.
To think of what it did when it did it too, I think is even more
I would agree with
important.
you on that. It did have an impact. Yeah.
Think of what superhero movies were up to that point. They were a joke for the most part. I think you could argue, and some people will be like, oh, how dare you cross those streams, but like it paved the way for the Marvel universe, I think, kind of, to a point for them to really take off. Tell me I'm lying. Give me a reason why I'm not.
I feel like Marvel has always taken a different tone compared to Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. But I love Christopher Nolan.
Think of Endgame. You don't think Endgame had there were no influences from the Dark Knight?
I love Endgame.
Exactly.
Chipobear, I want to give you my honorable mentions here in a second. So Chipobear, let's hear your top 3 now.
So one of them, the same as Chance. My number 3 was Christmas Vacation, for the same reasons. Like literally, we watch it multiple times every year for Christmas. My wife knows every line. My parents know every line. And like when you just like can recite things to each other in circumstantial like situations, and it's just phenomenal. Such a great movie. Randy Quaid, Chevy Chase, right? But number 2 on the list is one that a lot of people would never guess, knowing me, and it is actually Love Actually. is my number 2 on the list.
I remember you telling me that.
Because it's such a good movie. Like it's heartwarming. It's genuinely funny. It has nudity. It hits everything you want.
He's not wrong.
That's like the one thing I remember for it. I was like, this has a surprising amount of nudity in it.
Yeah. But no, it's genuinely such a good movie. Like literally, I remember there were a couple times in my youth where things didn't go well in like my relationships, and I would literally go home and drink a bottle of wine by myself and watch Love Actually, and I would feel so much better at the end. I'm not ashamed to admit it. So anyway, it's my number 2 all time favorite movie. Love Actually.
Speaking of nudity, Jose, you know what else has nudity? Vanilla Sky, Penelope Cruz. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but I can't understand the movie.
Penelope Cruz. That's all I'm gonna say, boys. Penelope Cruz. All right, keep going.
Come on, side boob with no context. That's not for me.
And then my number 1 movie of all time that I will watch anytime it's on TV, I absolutely love it, is Aliens, the sequel, the second one by James Cameron, also a great director. It's just super funny. Bill Paxton's in it. I love like all the characters. I had to pick like a sci-fi monster movie. Like I love to watch those kind of things, especially by myself. So Aliens is the one that just does it for me. Like I just love that whole universe. I'm super excited to play that new Space Marines game when it comes out, because you actually get to fight them for the first time. Played Alien Isolation, and it was cool, but it's not the same. So that's my number 1 is Aliens.
Very nice, you guys. I remember your Love Actually. I knew Top Gun was going to be on chances. Honorable mentions, you guys. I just wanted to quickly mention, and these could be in my top 10, basically. Interstellar. That movie gets me every time. I actually think
also Christopher Nolan.
I was going to say, I think that's my favorite Christopher Nolan film. Saving Private Ryan. Wow. I remember seeing that in middle school, 8th grade.
Hold on. Not Inception?
No, Inception's on my list next. Yeah.
No. Favorite Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I would put Interstellar above, just because of the connection with his family, having kids,
Fair enough.
That's probably what threw me over the edge. Yes, Inception was until Interstellar came around and when I had kids. And then I was going to say Infinity War, Endgame. What an amazing! I'm not even.
Incredible.
I was never a big Avengers fan. I was always an X-Men guy. When the Avengers team started being built, I'm like, this is okay. Never really into it. By the end, though, after watching all of them and then how they closed it all off, wow, they couldn't have done it any better. Endgame especially. I remember I went and saw it by myself because I think it was right after the girls were born, and just like sitting there crying at the end, with the.
When you've seen that meme too, where people in the movie theater watch it on opening night, and at that scene where the battle's taking place at the end, and literally everyone's cheering, you get like chills watching that, dude. It's so awesome.
Avengers. Assemble. Oh, I know. It's just crazy. I can't imagine being there with a full crowd. Then I would say Step Brothers, Dumb and Dumber, amazing comedies. Step Brothers is up there with Superbad for me. And then Edge of Tomorrow. You made me think of Edge of Tomorrow, Chipobear, because of Bill Paxton. What a great film with the Live, Die, Repeat, just like Groundhog Day.
Eric and I were talking
they're going to
about
make they're making a sequel to that, so I can't wait. So any other honorable mentions, boys?
Yeah, it was hard. Like, if you think about it as a whole, I'm surprised none of us had The Matrix on there.
Oh, that was the one I was just going to say for my honorable mention.
Yeah, and I will never forget. I saw the first one with Chipo at, God, one of you will remember. What was not the movie theater that was on Alameda? That was Green Mountain. What was the other?
It was Man Theaters.
Yeah, but it had a name too.
Man 5, right by the Wendy's, right? You're talking like on Cedar?
I think he's right.
Yes.
It was Man 5.
Yes. I'll see, of course, Chipo remembers that. And I can remember, like, and again, Chipo, tell me if I'm lying. When the third one finished, going back to his house with him, and I think his dad probably picked us up, or his mom, or my mom, or whatever. And they're like, "Guys, how are the movie?" And we're just like, "No, just we're still reflecting on it. Like, we haven't, we're probably like somebody look it up, like 15 or 16,
99. First one was 99, so I bet the last one was like graduation. It was like when you're graduating high school.
We drove ourselves, but I remember, I'll never forget.
No, my parents picked us up. Don't lie.
Yeah. When I connected that the whole point of the story and what made him different was his relationship with Trinity and love, I was like, oh, this is what love is. Like, oh my gosh, oh, it is powerful. And I just remember feeling like a freaking rocket scientist. Like, I figured it out, because everybody else was like, we don't get it, it's so confusing. I was like, no, it's love. It's really simple.
Yeah, also a common theme in Interstellar there, by the way, love.
Yeah, no,
Jose, your honorable mentions?
I mean, dude, there's so many. I absolutely love movies. I would have put a lot more horror movies. I wanted to put like Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. But there's like 10 of each. And, there's different parts that I like. I also love classic comedies, things like Caddyshack, such a good movie, dude. If you've never watched it again as an adult, so funny. My Cousin Vinny's another great comedy. Like, there's just a lot, man. I just love movies. But that was a great question, Lauren.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, so shout out to Lauren. Thanks again for that reader mail there. I loved it. Great warm up. And I'd love to. Maybe we should do like sitcoms next time or TV shows. We all know what number one is on that though. Guys, let's move into what have we been playing here. I would like to go first very quick because I've been playing The Ascent, and unlike Chance and Jose as much, I'm loving it. My first initial impressions, I think it's beautiful. The cyberpunk setting and atmosphere is top notch. The city world feels more alive than any other game I've played I can think of, especially like it feels real and alive. I'm so blown away by the atmosphere and the setting and the graphics. Awesome. I like the twin stick gameplay and I like the customization. Before Chance interrupts me, the one thing I don't like, some of the things I don't like, there have been bugs. Last night I was playing, all the enemies weren't spawning. Nowhere. I was running through the map and I was like bored out of my mind. I'm like, maybe there's, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, this sucks. First of all, that goes into my next big complaint is you're doing a lot of walking, a lot of traveling. And if there's no enemies, it was real boring. So that was my first bug. And then I was doing a main mission, got to a point where he's like, you have to kill these guys, went up this elevator and the guys weren't there. And I was just walking around this empty space. So that's when I had to do a hard reset. And that goes into, like I said, when you're walking around and it's boring when there's nobody spawning, this game has a bad fast travel system. It's not good. I don't like how you have to go to the trains to access it, to go to certain areas. And then, yes, I know you can call a cab. I don't like how you have to pay $1,000 to get where you need to go. I think if they just changed it to where you can select the metro points and just fast travel right away, that would solve a lot of problems. So there's a lot of backtracking. I don't think the map's good and the fast travel sucks. But besides that, I think it's a good game. Chance, what were you going to say about The Ascent?
Just that, and you're way further than me and Jose because we never got to the fast travel parts. But
I got there now. I caught up to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I fell asleep at about 8:50 last night. So if I got a text,
yeah, I was wondering. I was like, why aren't they playing together? I think
Dude,
you need to stick together. I'm just too far ahead now. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we will. Either way. But so what I was going to say about the environment and how full of life it is, you're absolutely right. I love that, but there was no context to a lot of it, and I wanted there to be, right, and I think there's such opportunity to, and maybe it'll come out and they'll have a sequel or something with a little more. But
no, same thing with you, Dan. I actually played a couple more the last couple days of it, and I'm enjoying it more as I'm just enjoying myself. Like when I was trying to like understand everything, like the context of Chance was saying, I was like getting frustrated because there's not that. So when I just was like, I'm just going to run around, and I was actually like listening to podcasts. It's a great game to do that where you don't really have to focus on noise. You just play. I've been enjoying it quite a bit more. There was one boss. It was like a big mech that you had to fight by myself that I really missed Chance on because it was hard. It took me like 10 tries to beat it by myself.
Yeah, and they actually did put out a big patch, Chance. So it was a 5 gig thing. So that they didn't say what was in it, but I think it helped a lot. They did add a difficulty slider. I don't think that was in there before. So now you can change that. So that'll help. But you're right, Chance. There's a lack of context, and I'm not sure that ever improves. But as of right now, as a first attempt from like a 12-man team, I'm very impressed. Like whatever they make next, I'm there. And again, this was Game Pass. We didn't pay for it. I'm having fun. I think it's great solo. I can tell you from my perspective, I just love being able to go out and do what I need to. The side quest, guys, I would stick to the main quest as maybe do like 5 of them and then go back and do some side quests because some places you can't get to unless you get a certain distance. And
yeah,
make sure
that
you
was
pay
frustrating.
Attention. Yeah, make sure you pay attention to like, it tells you what recommended level too. So don't do any that are above you or anything like that. But I'm really liking it. I can't wait to play it actually after this. So I do.
You know
recommend
what the total
it,
play time is? I'm just curious what like people
no,
are
I have
saying
no idea.
finish time is.
I haven't even at all. So I'll get
Okay.
back to you. But I'm taking my time. I'm doing like all side quests as much as I can before I do a main quest. So anybody else playing anything besides The Ascent?
I started. No. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chipo.
I started a game called Donut County with Penelope. It's on Game Pass. It's pretty cute. It's actually a great game
really
for
good.
little kids. But other than that, I got 2 reviews. But Chance can go first.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome. I did start Rise, right? Rise of the Tomb Raider, which again just looks incredible. Oh my goodness, for such a old game, right? I'm not very far at all into it, but I'm excited to do. I never played any of the DLCs, so the DLC in that one,
Nice.
I think were some pretty expansive story DLCs that I'm excited to play. And
Yeah,
I did see Jose was playing Donut County, and I was like, oh, gotta try that.
Yeah, no, I've actually heard good things. Gary Whitta and Kind of Funny Xcast, he said that's like one of his favorite Game Pass games. Chance, I think one of the DLCs on there is decent. I remember buying the DLCs for Shadow, so I think only one of them is story related, and then the other one might be like a time trial or action.
Yeah, there's like
a swarm mode or something.
Mm-hmm. And there's one where you go back to the Croft Manor, which is cool because that takes me back to the original Tomb Raider games where you could always go back, and that was like a secret world. Which top 5 secret worlds or hidden bosses? That would be a good one for later on.
Sounds good. Jose, do you want to do your... Okay, we got 2 reviews now, boys.
One's real quick, and then we'll talk about Alan Wake after that.
Official XRT reviews.
Official XRT review. A couple weeks ago, I talked about I was going to play that Space Jam New Legacy game after the Space Jam movie that came out on HBO Max. If you have not seen Space Jam New Legacy and you wanted a really accurate review, you should check out the review by Big Time Babble, our buddy Rock Quarry and Shank the Tank, Captain Caveman, and the Goodlum on Big Time Babble podcast. They did a very fair assessment of the movie. Overall, not great. We'll just say that. But the game itself, I will say, what's really cool about it, if you don't know the background, is that basically they reached out to fans and said, if we were going to make a game about this, what would you want it to be? They did a bunch of polls, and it was like user created. So it's not going to be an incredibly unbelievable game, but basically it's like a arcade game, like something like Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, or Streets of Rage, Double Dragon. It's like literally that kind of a game. It is really a good beginner game. It's something I could have played with my daughter Penelope. Again, she's 6 and she wants to play with me, but so much of like modern gaming is just outside of her grasp. And so it's something she could have picked up and played and probably not done super well, but at least enjoyed. It's definitely fun but you can choose between being Bugs Bunny, Lola Bunny, or LeBron. I was actually Lola Bunny for my playthrough. And it's fun to see, just the zaniness of like Looney Tunes. And it's also incredibly short. I finished the entire game in 38 minutes from start to finish. So it's one you could definitely, if you're getting ready for something, you can knock it out that quickly. The cons of it, there's definitely like 0 instructions. You just basically are hitting a button. What does this do? What does this do? And you don't like know about combos and stuff unless you accidentally come across them. It was very repetitive. It's basically like walk into a room, beat up a bunch of guys. It moves over a room, beat up a bunch of guys. The end of the level is a boss, and you move forward. It kind of followed the story of the movie, but not really. You only fight 2 of the actual characters from the movie. Everything else is completely exists only in this game. Would I play it again? Absolutely not. I'm not mad because it was only 40 minutes total of my life, but my official rating is a 5. Not a bad game, but definitely not a good game. I would actually say the movie, if you're going to spend that time, just go watch the movie. It's better, even though it's not that great. But again, it was fun. If you're looking again for something for your small children, something it's worth checking out, it's definitely nothing you have to worry about in terms of content or anything like that. Any thoughts?
It exists, guys. The game exists. No, let's move on to Alan Wake. Let's hear the real review.
Okay.
Okay, guys, this is XRT review of a game that is awesome and amazing, and I'm interested to see how Jose ranks this. Pros, cons, overall, Alan Wake, Chipobear.
Awesome. So Alan Wake is a game that I did not play when it originally came out. It came out for the Xbox 360 in 2010. So a little context, it's almost 12 years old. That being said, it is actually a pretty badass game. It is actually a really, really great story. That is really what makes the game so good, is the story is so good. And what I really loved about that story is that it took all of like 30 minutes to get into the story. Because like sometimes the games that are really great in stories, they take like 2, 3, 4 hours to get into the story. This one is like you basically start the game and you're in the story. But it's not confusing. Like you know what's going on. I also really appreciate that I didn't know what the truth was in the story. Like there were times where I really thought this is all really happening. How crazy. And then there were times where I was like, oh my God, he's just insane. And I'm like in his head, and it would go back and forth. And they did a really great job of balancing that and keeping you going back and forth. And then also I'm bummed that I didn't play it earlier because it is really such a cool, scary game. Like it's definitely creepy. There are definitely like jump scares. And even for what I would consider a pretty old game at this point, over a decade old, the graphics still hold up. And the night and lighting effects and stuff it's insane that they were able to do that on 360.
From the fireworks, I just remembered about the flare gun, the fireworks. Oh, so good.
It's so good, dude. And truly, like I said before, the lighting is really, it's incredible what they were able to do with light, both from a gameplay aspect and from a graphical aspect. It was overall pretty short, which I loved. It was like 6 quote unquote episodes or parts of the story. My playthrough was probably between 12 and 14 hours. I couldn't actually check because on the Xbox 360 games, it doesn't show you your counter on the Series X. So just from my kind of math, I did it over the course of like 4 or 5 nights. I think that's where I was at. I really liked the way you fight enemies. I thought it was a pretty innovative way of doing that. I loved the character Barry, who's his agent. The first time I met him, I thought I was going to be annoyed by him, but by the end, he was amazing. I loved Barry. I like the diverse environments. They really did a good job of you fight all over the place. You fight in the town, in the country, on a farm, in a barn, like it just over and over all kinds of stuff, which was cool. And I like the puzzles. They actually weren't super, super easy, but they also weren't so complex that I was like stuck forever and ever. And then the last pro was that the weapon progression was limited, which I actually put as also a con, which we'll talk about in a second. As a pro, I think it's cool that you basically, it was limited where you find the combo you like and you could just stick with that for the game. So like I ended up really liking just the gun, the regular gun, and that's what I used most of the game. But they have like shotgun, rifle, flares, flash grenades, all kinds of stuff. For the cons, I actually hated that they kept taking your weapons away from you. And I'm not trying to spoil anything, but the way that they write the story, you like get a bunch of weapons and then you lose them all. You get a bunch of weapons and you lose them all. And that was just like, it just irked me. That was just my own thing though. The weapon progression was also limited. I also said that was a pro, but I mean, it truly like you have all the weapons by like 20% of the game, which, I guess that's cool. And it fits with the story really well, but I just like getting bigger and better weapons throughout the game. I also didn't like their tracking mechanisms for things like there's collectibles like these coffee mugs. I never knew how many coffee mugs I collected. At one point I hit an achievement, but then that was it. And then there was like nothing else. And so I just would have loved like a counter on each episode to say like, there's 40 in this and you got 38 or something like that. They didn't do that. They also didn't have that for like the chests or these little sheets you find. I wish they had a better way of doing that. And I didn't like that some of the game elements are only available in the hardest difficulty. I don't want to totally ruin that. There's kind of a spoiler if I do, but there's a nightmare mode and you can only do parts of the game if you play the nightmare mode. I didn't love that piece of it. And the last thing, and you guys might disagree here, I didn't like the final boss, and I thought about it a lot. I didn't like the ending. I understand the ending. It makes sense to me. The reason I didn't like it is because what it means for the franchise. That's what I really didn't like it about it. And I think Chance knows where I'm going with that. I don't know about Dan, but your guys' thoughts before I give my rating?
I was just going to say the DLCs expand way more on the ending, and they were really good. Some of the best DLC ever, actually. So that might help with why you didn't like the ending. And to be honest, I don't quite remember the ending because I remember more the DLCs. So what's your overall rating, Chipobear?
What I really wanted to give this game was an 8.5, but we don't. That's not how our rating scale works. We do only solid integers. So I'm going to give it a 9 because we talk about positivity in gaming. So I gave it a 9, which is a great game. I couldn't give it a 10 because again, there were a couple of just cons that I was like, I can't do that. Like it's not the same as Mass Effect, even though it's so good and it's absolutely worth the money to buy it. I would have paid $60 and been perfectly happy with it. I only paid 20 right now, so totally worth it. You should all go play it, especially if you're a fan of like Resident Evil games, Silent Hill games. That's why I'm mad at myself that I didn't play it earlier. But it's a great game.
All right, you're putting Chance to sleep there with that great review. Thank you so much.
Come on, that's not fair.
I love the review. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Jose, it was job well done.
You're absolutely right. It is a 9. And Chapo, if you really like it, the DLCs are worth it, man. They're
I'll get into the DLCs
and worth your time. Like really good. And American Nightmare kind of expands on it a little bit too. Chance, what do you want to add to the Alan Wake?
That he needs to play Senua first. So no, he doesn't need to get all the DLCs.
No.
I genuinely, he did a great job. I don't have a ton to add. I think, again, if you had, and you can't do this, right? But if you had been able to go back and play it back then, and the graphics were like groundbreaking and stuff at the time, and just the way it was done, I think, yeah, just overall great game, and I'm glad you got to experience it finally.
Me too.
Yeah.
So what's up next for you, Jose?
Well, the Ascent is what I'm playing right now. And as soon as I finish that, or if I get bored with it, we'll see. We'll see where it goes the next couple of days. By next weekend, probably. I will play Senua for Chance, because I promised him that I would do that.
Okay.
And then after that, I don't know. But I'm just taking it one day at a time.
Well, hopefully, and I think I've done my own little research, and you guys will both appreciate. I am on the Psychonauts train now, and I'll be playing that hopefully next when it comes, because it's only a couple weeks now, right?
Yeah, it's the end of the month, right?
It's the 25th. Yeah, I was going to say, Jose, what you should do, you should play Senua when you're gaming by yourself, and then keep the Ascent for you and Chance to stay on the same page. That's what I think would work best for you. But
that's a good idea.
Exciting stuff. Thank you for the review. I love Alan Wake. Guys, if you haven't played Alan Wake, go play Alan Wake. Still holds up today. Worth $60. You can get it for $20. You probably get it for $30 with the DLC. So let's move on to news. There wasn't much that I really wanted to talk about this week, guys. There was a few things, but I wanted to focus on two main topics. So we're going to talk about first controllers and Game Pass. But the one news thing I just wanted to give a little announcement for is coming to Game Pass this month. Curse of the Dead Gods, PC and Xbox. Dodgeball Academia? How do you say that, Jose?
Academia.
Katamari Damacy Reroll. Luminous Remastered, Skate, Starmancer, Art of Rally, Hades next week, guys. Too many games. And Microsoft Solitaire Collection. Also coming is Dirt 4, Dirt Rally 2.0, F1 2020, and Grid, which are EA Play games. Leaving August 8th is Grand Theft Auto 5. Who cares? That was another news item. Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold over 150 million copies. Okay, if you don't own it by now, whatever. Leaving August 15th, Ape Out, Crossing Souls, Darksiders, Genesis, Don't Starve, Final Fantasy VIII. So if you didn't play that, sorry, you're going to have to buy it for like 10 or 20 bucks. And Train Sim World 2020. Guys, I was listening to Kind of Funny Xcast. Shout out to Xcast. Snowbike Mike, Gary Witta, Paris Lily. And they did a cool thing that I kind of want to steal from them. Let's rank the official Xbox Series controllers that are out right now. Okay, so there are 7. They only did 5. They didn't include the standard white and black controllers, but I want to include them here. Okay, so we'll go from least favorite to favorite, from 7 to 1. These are the official controllers that you can buy. Of course, do I own any of these extra ones besides the standards? No, because I'm waiting to get an Elite, or let me do the next Elite controller and I will buy it day one. So who would like to start us off here with their official? Actually, Jose, you're going to have to, because I think Chance still needs to rank his. We'll go Chipobear, me, and then we'll end with Bubble Boy. Chipo, give me your favorite controllers.
So we're going reverse order here. So worst to best. My worst one is the Volt. And here's the thing: I'm a bold color guy. I love really bright colors. I'm not afraid. I got to
interrupt. Chance, you're up. He's fired. Get him out of here.
The Volt is the worst color, dude.
Okay, never mind.
Great.
Mute
Let
yourself.
me go ahead.
Mute yourself. No.
So
Mute yourself.
I'm gonna start
Chipo,
with
you're
the
back.
bottom.
You're back. No, Chipo, you're back. You're back. I was just kidding, Chipobear. Even though I'm disgusted with your Volt as last, I can't even listen to you. Continue.
Volt is last, followed by red camo, because it's hideous. I just don't love the red camo. Give me real camo. Give me like actual digital army camo would have been better than red camo. Followed by the plain blue, not the new one, not the new Aquascape one, the plain blue. Then white. I like the idea of white controllers. I just don't think they look that great. They get dirty. That's why it's fourth. In third place is the actual just super solid red. I think that's actually a pretty slick looking controller. I think it looks nice. I like that it's unique. In second place, the brand new Aqua Blue, which is really, really pretty. And not that I would buy it, but I think it's cool and unique. Oh, that's my dogs.
All right, we just lost Chipobear. He just got attacked by some vicious wolves.
Yeah, so coming in seventh place on
and that means my number
Bubble
one
Boy's bracket is the
Chipobear's
Volt controller.
No, go be quiet, Bubble Boy. Get back.
My number one is black. It's
Really?
what feels like home to me. It's the best controller. It's the classic controller. It looks good on every system, at every level. I just like the black controller, and it's also what the Elite comes in right now. So that's the extra bonus there. That's my thoughts.
Okay, and I agree with you. Black usually goes with everything, but to me, black is kind of. I respect it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my number one. So here are mine. Number 7, you're right. That Day Strike camo. I usually like red and grays. And hideous. That one's the worst. Hands down.
Hideous.
Just the worst. I don't know why too. And I like camo, like you said too. Even if it was red and white or something, I think it'd look way better. So Day Strike, sorry. Number 6, Jose, you had this high. I don't really like the Aqua Shift. A lot of people like that. I don't think it's that cool. Yeah, it's like a reflective blue. Great, big deal.
It reminds me of those like the chameleon paints from like Fast and the Furious movies.
Maybe if it was a more green, I think I'd like it more if it was like a more green than blue. Number 5, blue. It's okay, but whatever. Number 4, black for me. I have black at number 4, and I know my Elite's right there. Of course, the Elite is the number 1 controller ever.
You can hear you talking trash about it back there.
No, but the Elite is a little bit different. It's got some metallic parts on the D-pad and the triggers, right? So let's take a look. Maybe you're right. It's just on top on the bumpers, but this makes it better though. Like I think this black is way better than the traditional black. This one I would rank this higher. Actually, maybe I should have done that. But number 3 for me, I agree with you, Jose. I think the red is pretty slick looking. I think it looks really good. Number 2 for me, and it disgusts me that you had this last. The Electric Volt is sick. I don't know what.
Could you not find your controller? It needs to glow for you.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome, man! I love that yellow. It's awesome. You guys are crazy. And number 1 for me is the white. I love white on black, and I know Jose, you think that the white doesn't look good after time, but I'm telling you, this has been holding up. This is perfectly clean. This is just. Look at that, the white on black. You can't go wrong. So that's my number 1. Bubble Boy, what do you think? What's the rankings for you?
I'm not joking. That Volt comes in at a 7, a solid 7. It just doesn't do it for me. The camo, yeah, we're all, and I think because I really like gray. Gray has been my new favorite color for quite a while now, and I'm like, well, they teased the gray and then just crapped on it. So 6 would be the camo. 5 is the Aqua Shift blue. It just didn't do it for me. Followed by the white. I don't love. I think they get really dirty really easy. And then the black, and then I do like the blue. I really do like that blue. That it's almost all blue. I think they should have gone with the D-pad and made that blue too. I don't know why only the D-pad is the kind of metallic color. I think they should have just gone the whole way. And then that red one is just fantastic, and mostly because it is like a perfect Chiefs color red. So but
I disagree.
Again,
it's not.
I knew you were going to say that too.
I'll never buy any of them because I have an Elite Series 2, and why would I ever need any other controller for the rest of my life?
So I'm going to give you guys a curveball right now. I'd have the Elite number 2, actually, at looking at it right now, because it is a nice gray on the D-pad. I like the blacked out buttons. And then I like the metallic bumper trigger situation. This is just, my God, look at how good this might be number 1. Let's be real. This is the best controller ever.
It's the murdered out one.
And this to me,
of course, it's number 1. I didn't know that was a choice.
But this looks a lot different because of the material it has too. Like this is more of a matte black, which I know you love Marquez Brownlee, Jose. He loves matte black.
He also loves red though too. He loves the red stuff.
Okay, so speaking of, guys, get out your custom controllers. We are going to rank our own personal controllers right now. I will gladly show you. So these are my 2 favorites. And for our audience,
you made 2? I thought we could only make 1. You're breaking rules already.
What are you doing? So basically, a long time ago, we were like, hey, we should do a design lab and share what our creations look like. So my first one is basic, but like I said, you already know where this is going, Jose. What am I going with? What colors?
Red, white, and black. N7, maybe.
Correct. N7. Okay, so this is my official N7 controller with the white trigger, with the right thumbsticks, white everything.
Ooh, that's
else,
pretty cool, actually, dude. I like that,
red.
dude.
And you know what I really like is the rear. Look at how good it looks with the black and then the red stripe down the middle. Chance, you see this? It looks really good. And then my
dude, that looks cool.
Then my other one, guys, I'm a fan of the white on black. So I've perfected the white on black. So what you do here, you do everything is white. So
Okay.
everybody, our audio
It's pretty
listeners,
crispy. I like it.
I have the bumpers, the triggers, and the back black. And then on the front, we have white ABXY buttons, white menu view buttons, white everything else on the D-pad and the thumbsticks. This looks pretty clean to me. I don't know about you, Jose. And then the back, woo, look at that with the black down the middle. I'm telling you guys, if you're audio listeners, you might want to check out the video for this one. So I don't know why, guys, but that clean white, Jose. I know you more the black, so let's see.
No, I
No,
actually like
Chipobear, yours is gonna be crazy. I can already tell. Let's see.
it. Is. Let me go last. Let Chance go next.
Okay, and then Chance is gonna be hideous. So let's see.
Why is mine hideous? I already showed it to you.
It's a Chiefs
one.
one. I
Oh
guarantee
no, it
that's
was
the
No, I did
Steelers.
the
This is
old
Green
school-
Mountain.
It's
Yeah.
not Steelers. I did the old school Green
Wow.
Mountain one with the I deleted it off my phone already. I can't. show
Oh
you the
my
picture.
gosh, Chance,
I
go
know.
to the lab right now on your phone and recreate it.
You know what it looks like. It's got.
All right, well, guys,
it's
just
got
imagine.
yellow and black, and it looks like an old school GM.
So was it all black on the face, or the thumbsticks
No.
yellow?
So the face was yellow, everything else was black, and the back was black, and then I think one of the triggers was yellow. I don't remember. It was. Such
I'll
a
try.
long
I'm going to
time
try
ago.
to recreate it. You had black, but Jose, show us yours and explain while I'm trying to recreate.
So
this
mine is
first
crazy, and the theory behind it is very simple. When we were doing this, I was
Transmute
like,
yourself.
I got to pick something. If I don't go super clean like Dan did, which I knew he was going to do with the N7 stuff, I was like, what would I do in my life that like is really meaningful to me? So for those that don't know out there, my wife and I got married during Halloween. We had a Halloween themed wedding. Everybody came in costume. So we love Halloween. It's a big, is that what Chances is? Keep going.
This is pretty
we
good.
love
Chance.
Halloween,
This
so-
is Green Mountain. You got a little bit white in there. What were your thumbsticks? Okay. no,
Let Jose finish.
All right, Jose, go.
No, so anyway, so mine was I tried to make a Halloween themed one, and if you've never used the Design Lab, there are lots of things to choose from, but it actually is more limited than you think if you're trying to go for like a theme kind of thing. So this is what I ended up with to be my Halloween themed controller. You can see that those are green thumbsticks, yellow fins or orange fins, and orange D-pad.
You know what that reminds me of, Jose? The Joker.
Yeah, it does look a lot like a Joker one too as well, but it's supposed to be Halloween themed. I mean, we do lots of Halloween. You can see Halloween shoes back here behind me. Like Halloween's big in our house, so that's what I went for. Try to do the purple face. I tried doing like an orange one, but it ended up looking like a Phoenix Suns one, right? So I didn't want to do that. So that was my custom one right there.
Jose, I wanted to do something cool with. Oh, okay. Chance.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here, Chance figured it out.
So there
It's
it is.
all black buttons.
Yeah.
And
All
gold
yellow.
faceplate.
Yeah, cool.
And the white came in on the bumpers.
Oh, the triggers.
Oh,
So
that
the
back looks good. That
really
looks like
looks
Green
like-
Mountain.
I like
Yeah,
it.
that
All right.
looks like Green Mountain.
Right? The back is totally Green Mountain. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I have to say, we got some pretty good designs, you guys.
Yeah.
And you were right, Jose. You knew me too well. Clean, symmetrical on my
Yeah.
white, and then even with the N7.
They look good though. No judgment. They legit look good.
Yeah. I think we did a good job. So, guys, if you're an audio listener, please check out the video for this. And I think it's worth your time to check out these cool controllers. So, again, I think both of our lists, I'd say for the most part, we like the more traditional colors as our tops as far as ranking the controllers, except for me having the electric volt. And honestly, I would have white number one. If I could get a white, like matte Elite Series 2, I would have been all over that.
well, they made the first
I think they
Series
did,
1
yeah.
white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if they ever did a
Hopefully-
Series 3 and they offered like a custom color for like 40,
Oh.
50 more bucks, I'd be
I'd
all
pay
over
it.
that, dude.
They,
I'd
I'll
be
so
pay
they
worth it.
make
I'll pay
Series
$200.
2 in custom colors, but they're like 280, 320.
do they?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and there's
you
not
sure?
very many. It's not official Xbox ones. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
some other company buys them and then doctors
then
them
they
up
do it.
for you.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah. I'll wait until Microsoft does it officially. Great talks there, you guys. Great rankings. Let's move into this next segment. Now, my coworkers or assistant to the co-hosts don't really know where I'm going with this, but I asked them to gather the Game Pass games that they have played just in 2021 alone. And I want to focus on, we're going to call this segment Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. And I'm going to show you how much money
Just rolls
I
off
have
the tongue, that
saved
title.
I've saved this year alone, and I'm gonna give you conservative numbers, and I'm gonna give you realistic numbers and what I would have paid in video games this year, but what I really did or didn't play, actually, I should say, with these numbers. So, Jose, why don't you go first? Just give me a list of the games and how many basically you've played that have been on Game Pass just this year.
Sure. And when he says just this year, he means from January 2021. We are currently in August 2021, just for some context.
Yes. And I wanted to say you can include, I didn't mention through the end of the year, I included Forza and Halo, which are future titles. So if you'd like to include those, you can. But I'm assuming those are, of course.
Yeah, I mean, those are must play for all of us for sure. You could probably put on Hades on there too. You could put on Psychonauts on there. I mean, there's a bunch here like that we're going to play. But what I have already played since January is Unravel 1 and 2. Really cool old games, but fun little co-op games. Titanfall 2, Rain on Your Parade, Psychonauts, Overcooked 2, Outriders, Super Lucky's Tale, Minecraft, Feeding Frenzy, Donut County, Doom Eternal, Forza Horizon 4, Flight Simulator, Narita Boy, and The Ascent. And those are just the Game Pass games. There are also some ones that were in there that were not Game Pass ones, but writing it down, I was shocked. I was like, wow, I've been crunching some time in for sure. And I'm sure I'm the smallest of this list by far between the three of us.
Yeah. Were you adding all that up, DWALLY? Because
No, don't worry. I have some math just for me, but
okay.
I don't. Jose, I'll explain my math in a second if we want to go back, and maybe Jose can bring us next week. But don't worry about prices right now because I'll explain to you how I did the math for mine. Go ahead, Chance.
Okay. All right. So started with Gears Tactics, FIFA 20, NHL 20, Desperados 3, Anthem, Wreckfest, Destiny 2, Streets of Rage 4, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Children of Morta, Forza Motorsport 7, NBA 2K21, Madden NFL 21, Kona, Yes Your Grace, Little Nightmares, Battlefield 5, Empire of Sin. I'm not going to count that one. Never mind. Slay the Spire, Star Wars Squadrons, Outriders, Grand Theft Auto 5, Yakuza Kiwami 2, Subnautica, Katana Zero, The Surge 2, Batman Arkham Knight, MLB The Show, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Maneater, SnowRunner, Sea of Thieves, Darkest Dungeon, Yakuza Like a Dragon, No Man's Sky, Doom Eternal, Narita Boy, Forza Horizon 4, Unruly Heroes, The Ascent, Microsoft Flight Simulator.
That was all since January or
All
on
since-
Game Pass?
All since January on Game Pass.
Those are
Oh
all
my
Game Pass
God.
games in the library. Chance, do me a favor, add up how many games that is total. Jose, tell me how many total games you have. So here's my rundown, you guys. So I've played a total of 16 games. I'm going to list them and I'm going to give you the price that realistically, let's say I bought this at a quarter of the price or a third of the price. We're talking steep discount down the road, okay? And then the only ones I did full price were Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite because I would buy those day one, okay? And then I'm going to give you a second number, and these are numbers for, let's say I waited and bought them at half price, a little bit more realistic, and then also only kept the two $60 games as Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, okay? So our first scenario, we're talking I waited till the cheapest of cheap sales and got them at a quarter or a third of the price. And then the second number is mostly half price and two full price games, okay? I have Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, $5, $20. The Medium, $15, $30. Nier Automata, $20, $30. Destiny 2, 5 and 20. Sea of Thieves, 10 and 30. Control, I didn't even put money in here because I bought it anyway. I ended up buying the Ultimate Edition. Prey 2017, bought that game and the DLC. Doom Eternal, I bought the DLC. I played Doom Eternal last year on Game Pass for free. Yakuza 0, 10 and 30. Streets of Rage 4, 5 and 20. Narita Boy, 5, 20. The Ascent, 15, 30. Hades, 15, 30. And I actually don't know what the price of Hades is, but I'm guessing it's probably around 30, 40. Psychonauts 2. Now these are future games that I'm going to play, 20, 30, and then Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. Those are the only two games on this list that I kept as full price because those would have been games I would have purchased day one to buy at full price, okay? For me, I'm a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. So that means mine is $15 a month and I have PC, cloud, everything. So go ahead, Chance.
Can Chapo and I each take a guess? Because you said so many numbers. There's no way I was
Yeah.
keeping track. I'm
Yes.
just Jose. You weren't adding up in your head, were you?
He
No,
probably was.
I zoned out there for a minute. I'll be real honest.
Yeah. Most of the time when DWALLY talks, I'm just.
All right, appreciate it. Both of you are fired. Anyway, back. You can guess here in a second. So I just want to say a year of Game Pass Ultimate. So this is not even. You can just do Game Pass for a console, which it would have been 120, right? And then normally you can get Xbox Live. Let's say you're good and you get that for $50. That'd be 170. I don't know why, but let's say you get Game Pass Ultimate, which is what I have, which has Xbox Live, which has PC, which has everything. That's $15 a month times 12 months. That's $180 to have Game Pass Ultimate, or Game Pass plus Xbox Live is like 170, or it adds up to 180 anyway. So we're going to say $180 is what you would spend on Game Pass a year. Okay. What do you think I would have spent if I would have purchased these games at a quarter of the price and then the 2 full price games for Halo and Forza?
$735.
No, way off. Much
I'm going to say the small one is like 150, and the big one is like 425.
Okay. Chipobear is good. Some good. This is why he's the econ man. Chance, do you want to reevaluate your guesses there or resubmit them?
285
for the less or the big? 285 for the small, and then what do you want as the bigger one?
390.
Okay. So keep in mind, guys, if I had purchased these games at a quarter of their price and only paid full price for Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, I would have spent $245 this year. Okay. So because I have Game Pass, I spent only 180, and I actually didn't because I have it stacked. So I probably spent half of that on Game Pass. I would have saved 65 bones. That's the price of a full, that's Battlefield right there. Okay. Just because I'm a Game Pass member. And that's assuming, again, that I'm purchasing these at less than a third of price, except for the other two. If I were to have purchased these at the 50% mark and only the 2 full games, I would have paid $475. Now let's do the quick math here. 475 minus the, what did I say? 475 minus 120 for those games, right? 475 minus 120. So $355 is what I would have normally spent on all these games at half price. That means if I would have purchased every game at full price, it would have been $710, closer to Chance's, plus the 120 at full price. All of these games would have cost $830 in the year if you would have paid full price. I think the half price is a better one, but even then, 475 minus the 180. So you're saving $300 in a year. $300 buys you a Switch. $300 buys you a Series S. $300 almost buys you a PS4 digital. Guys, if you don't have Game Pass, go get it. Chance, what do you think about these numbers that I just shared with you?
I would buy a headboard or a dresser for a baby's room, because that's where I went. I sold my Switch and got a nice headboard. Yay. No, but it's funny that you equate it like that, because I always used to, actually in the days when Chapo and I lived together, I would equate everything. That's worth like 7 Xboxes. Like that's how my head that was the math that I did. So it's incredible. And man, I can only hope that it continues, and I'm not going to I'll cry a little, but I won't be like, I deserve better, because my goodness, we're living in golden age right now.
Jose, what do you think about those numbers, Mr. Econ?
Well, 2 things. Speaking of econ, so I don't know if you saw this week, there was a story about Epic, the Epic Game Store, because they're still in their fight with Apple right now, which the part of the story that was really interesting is that they were talking about the Epic Game Store, and they said in a court document that they were not expecting to be profitable in the Epic Game Store for 7 years, that they were going to lose money for 7 years before they made money. And I thought that was just incredible. One, that they had enough capital to do that, to stay afloat, quote unquote, for 7 years and not make any money. But it actually gave me a lot of hope for Games Pass, right? The idea that these companies are smart. They're building models for the long term, not the short term. And so that I think that's really hopeful for this. The other part of this that I think you're forgetting to include, I mean, not that the money stuff is unimportant. It's absolutely a great case for buying it, but it's the intangible benefits of it. The fact that if you get bored with the game, you don't feel like you wasted money. If you just want to try something to play with your friends or your kids or your wife or your spouse, to just say like, hey, what do you want to play? I know that my wife is not going to want to play Battlefield. She's not going to want to play the Ascent. But when she was like, hey, let's play something. And when I was like, well, let's try Overcooked. That looks fun. And we had a blast. And, to do that in a store is almost impossible. If you've ever walked into a GameStop, electronic boutiques as a kid, Toys R Us as a kid, it's just like you're looking at a wall of games and you're like, I don't know, I guess let's try this one. And if it sucks, you just wasted your money, right? Because you can only sell it back for a fraction of the price. It is incredible to just be able to just shop without consequence and try and find games that you actually like. Like, again, you've talked about, would you have played Narita Boy? Would you have played, all these other games if you hadn't been for Games Pass? Probably not, So it's incredible. Absolutely worth every penny.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. So my list was 41 games long, and so I didn't.
Incredible.
Finish. I should go back and see how many of those I finished, because a lot of them I just started just because I just wanted to see. Like, hey, let me see how this runs. I haven't played a FIFA game in probably 10 years. I hadn't played an NHL game in 10 years, and that Empire of Sin really appealed to me at first, and I probably would have spent $30 or $40 on it, right? And then didn't have to. So yeah. I just fantastic deal.
Just a great deal. And Jose brings up such a good point. I played games that I would not have played, but I did because they were on Game Pass. And remember when we talked about how there were those numbers and metrics on how people who are on Game Pass, not only one, play more games, which chance is clearly one of those metrics, and two, they spend more money in games. I was just thinking about it right now. I mentioned I bought Doom Eternal, I bought Prey DLC, and I bought Control on its own. I did the math. I spent an extra $20, $40, $70 right there. That 70 plus my 180 brings it around that 250 that I should have spent. And then I'm sure Microsoft is thinking, well, if he would have bought these down the road, he would have spent that $250. But I ended up doing it anyway because I paid for Game Pass, and then I went out and bought more games. And I'm even considering buying The Ascent because I respect the studio so much. I'm having so much fun. Or I also bought Death's Door. Like more money. That's not a Game Pass game, but I am, even though I'm on Game Pass, I'm still buying stuff that I wouldn't normally, or I'm buying DLCs, which I think is smart. Like we all bought the Forza Horizon stuff. And I think that's a huge part of it, as well as I think what people are also failing to recognize is that if you spend money in games, doesn't that kind of make up for that initial cost? Or say like we're buying skin packs, or we're going to be buying battle passes on Halo, we're buying DLCs. Like that has to make up a portion of those costs, right? Like
it does. It's a different model, right? That they're using. And it's not even that too. It's also controllers. It's headsets. I bought a new headset this year, so all of us did, right? Like those things end up making a big difference too. And I made another list. I'm not going to read the whole list, but it was games that I played on Xbox or on Game Pass since I've owned it, and it's 20 games long. So you add that to my 15, that's 35 games. And if you haven't bought it yet, if you're still on the fence after everything we've told you, you also have to remember, I know that we rave about these small games and Narita Boy and Death's Door stuff. There are also incredible AAA titles that are available. So like the Skyrim's on there, all of Fable's on there, Gears, all the entire Gears games, the Ori games, Jedi Fallen Order, Resident Evil games.
Oh my God, you guys, I forgot. I played Jedi Fallen Order this year. Wow. Okay.
I didn't play that since January though. I played that in like November, so I didn't count that one.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? But just like it is absolutely worth the money. And I guarantee you, once you go into it, you will never go back. You just won't.
So huge shout out to Game Pass. As over here at XRT, we're huge fans. I don't know why you wouldn't at least try it even for $1. And
Phil Spencer, you can send the check to
big fan of the show. Phil, we'd love to talk to you behind the math. You can share all your secrets with this, but great discussion there, guys. Thank you for bringing I could chance, holy crap, 41 games or whatever. Wow. That's just
impressive.
And
again, and the other thing that added,
you didn't beat all of those. Yeah.
No, God, no. What I was going to say was a lot of it was I was seeing how they ran on my iPad and with the Backbone. So I was trying different things out.
Speaking of, we need to get a review on the Backbone. I need that stat. Bring that next week. Let's move in to the good old days, you guys. Who wants to bring or introduce the good old days this week? Chapo or a Chance, do you want to lead us off on this one?
Yeah, I can do that. So, if you don't know my daughter Cora, she's infatuated with villains, and it started with oh my God, Maleficent. Yes, thanks, Chapo. Maleficent, when that movie came out, and then we got all the board games and stuff, and so she's just always really into the bad guys of things and the villains. And so I was like, what are our top 5 or most memorable villains, right? And so I had a hard time. I wasn't necessarily ranking them. I was just like, hey, these are the ones that stick out the most to me. And I'm going to read them in the order that I ultimately wrote them down in. And this isn't even necessarily ranking. I know that sounds weird, but the first one, and I think I might be the only one in here that's played these, is Handsome Jack from the Borderlands series. Did either of you ever play that game? Any of those games?
But I've heard of him. But I've
heard of him. I played the first Borderlands.
Okay,
and I played the Tales of, which I liked a little bit more, the Telltale game. So,
and he's hilarious. It's funny the way his story arc goes throughout the games and stuff, and just really well done character. The next one that I put on there, because I was like trying to figure out, and he was at the front of my mind when all this was happening, and we've talked about him before, is Psycho Mantis, right? And I don't necessarily think his character is anything great, but the whole unplugging from port 1 and plugging back into port 2 was again, tell me anything that's been done with that kind of innovation since then, and I'll call you a liar, right? So next on my list is Sephiroth, because you can't make a list. I knew
you'd pick Sephiroth.
Of course. And I can explain too. It's not just because Final Fantasy VII is my favorite. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite in part because of Sephiroth, right? And I think the story arc that he goes through and all the twists and turns that he takes, and then the music that goes along with him, that battle that you have on the ship with the Genova the first time, which is kind of, we'll call Sephiroth, and then the music at the end, that one-winged angel, just phenomenal. And then the next one on my list, again, not in necessarily a certain order, but Andrew Ryan from the first BioShock. When that whole thing comes out and you find out the whole "Would You Kindly" stuff, that was one of the coolest moments in gaming, I think, that I can remember. And then finally, and I think DWALLY will really appreciate this one because it's very controversial. I think most people won't even consider him a villain, but I'm putting Joel Miller from The Last of Us as the villain. See?
Wow, I love it. Coming now. Wow, what a pick here, guys. We gotta clip this. Great. Yeah. This is gonna go on YouTube. People are gonna get pissed.
No, I know. That'll put us on the map, right? But I'm sorry, or sorry, not sorry, I think is what you're supposed to say. But that dude was the villain of those games. I tell me I'm wrong. And I had so many arguments with Eric this week, my buddy from work, and he does have a microphone, so he is interested in being on the show one day. And I'm like, no, man, tell me I'm wrong. And DWALLY, you agree with me, right?
Completely agree. The more I think about it, he is totally a villain in the game. But for some reason, people like to justify his actions. Yeah. Anyway, great list. I don't even know how to top that. Jose, do you want to go next? And I'll go last here with mine. Great list.
Sure, Chance. I'll go. So what I approach this kind of, it was a great question, Cora. Thank you for always sending us great content. But I was trying to think of it in a couple of contexts. One is memorable villains, like from games that I've played. So not just like an iconic villain that everybody knows, but like when I play the game, I'm like, oh, that's a cool villain, or a hard villain, or a memorable villain. I definitely thought about Andrew Ryan. Like, he was almost on my list. That was a great pick. And of course, Sephiroth is iconic for our generation as well. I also was trying to avoid a villain that's not a singular person, and I did that with everyone except one. There was one I just had to put. I'm sure that's going to come as a shock to you guys here in a minute. Again, not in any necessarily order. I was just the way that I thought of them. But the necromorphs in Dead Space was the first one I thought of. Again, there's not really a single necromorph that I thought of as the main villain, but the first time you play Dead Space, it is a immediate and very in your face, very intense villain. And I also love the way that you have to kill them, which is through their limbs. I think that was a really unique thing that they did. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but you'd figure that out pretty quickly.
No, that's a great addition, Chapo.
I necromorphs are one of mine. I also put Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil series. I thought he was such a cool villain. Like, he was in many of the stories. I loved his evolution, and when you eventually have to fight him, it was actually a really fun and kind of hard battle. I really loved his piece of it as well. My next one is Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. He was just such an iconic villain for a long time. Like, you just see him in the background of the first Mortal Kombat. You can't even play him. In the second one, you have to beat him to beat the game. By the third and fourth, you can play as him. Like, just a cool character and just a really iconic historical person. My last two I bet are kind of controversial. One is Zeus from God of War. So in God of War 2 and 3, your main villain is actually the Zeus, who's supposed to be like the benevolent kind of king of gods, and they did such cool stuff with him. And I feel like we don't talk enough about God of War. I know it's a PlayStation IP, but it really is such a cool series, man. And I've always loved God of War, so I had to put him in there. Even though I did like Ares in the first one too. Ares was great. And then my last one is a total wild card, but I was just trying to think of like games that we played and like historic villains, and I had to throw Jason in there from the Friday the 13th game, because it's the first one you get to play where you get to play as the villain. So, like, yeah, you get to play as Shao Kahn, but you're just the same as any other fighter. But like in Friday the 13th, when you are Jason, you have some real power, and it's a fun game, man. I'll never forget those nights playing with like Goose and stuff where we're all trying to. It's so much fun, dude. So Jason
exactly
was my
what I
last one.
thought
That was
too.
a
I
great
was
one.
like, oh, Goose getting to be Jason. That's you haven't lived until you've played that game with Goose being Jason.
Shout out to Goose. Shout
out to Goose, man.
Okay.
All right, DWALLY, what do you got?
Thanks, man. No, I like your list. So I thought of it as the same way, kind of, Chipo. I thought of not necessarily characters, but mine was more based on your actually boss battles. Like, some of these are just strong boss battles to me. So number 5, and this one still terrifies me to this day, haunted my dreams just last or a couple of years when this came out. Mr. X from Resident Evil 2.
That's a good one
on
too,
the
dude.
PS1 and the remake on Xbox One. Super creepy, man. Just haunting you at the worst times, especially in 2, coming out of nowhere. And then the footsteps. Wow, what an awesome way to twist on him. And you know how he could come through doors and come at you in different areas. You'd think in the old games, like, oh, I could just go through this door and he won't be there anymore. Nope, not in this game. He's going to keep chasing you. So loved, shout out to Mr. X. Creepy, but hilarious at the same time, which you really look at his little googly eye face. Number 4, Mother Brain from Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. That final boss battle, you guys, I don't know if you've ever played it or done it. So exhilarating when you finally, I'll never forget being a young lad playing on the Super Nintendo and beating Mother Brain with my plasma rifle as Samus. What an iconic boss battle for me. Number 3, a personal favorite. I wrote down Harbinger / the Reapers from Mass Effect. Man,
I thought you were going to choose the Elusive Man.
No,
he's a good
Elusive
one too.
Man to me, yeah, he's there, but the masterminds behind everything, and what a terrifying, evil nemesis and villain the Reapers in general. But then Harbinger, especially when Harbinger talked to you and just how he would belittle you, and wow, scared the crap out of me every time I talked to a Reaper. So shout out to Harbinger and the Reapers in Mass Effect 3. Number 2, Chance hit it, Psycho Mantis. What an iconic fight. I'm sorry. Some people are like, oh, what about Sniper Wolf or Revolver Ocelot? As far as I'm concerned, Revolver Ocelot, he hangs around way too much inexplicably. So I don't know about that one. Psycho Mantis, what an incredible fight. Okay. And then my number 1 top villain of all time, and this is purely out of respect, showed me what a villain is in a video game and made me feel so accomplished after I defeated him. Ganon from The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Great, man.
You fight him once in the light world, and then you finally have to take him down in the dark world in his real form. What an awesome battle. Shout out to Ganon. And he keeps coming back.
Big props to you, DWALLY, for going Nintendo on that one.
Well, I got to pay respect to my roots, man. And the Super Nintendo might be my all-time number 1 favorite console. Like, to be honest, like, it got me into gaming, and I have so many memories. I mean, I've got 2 on there from Super Nintendo, PS1, and then there's only one real recent one, which is, well, the Harbinger and then Mr. X. So great question, Cora. Thank you so much. If you guys would like to write in for the good old days, please contact us, send us an email, hit us up on Twitter. You can always write us at xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. What's that email, Jose?
That would be xboxrecordthis alphaplanet@gmail.com.
Thank you so
also,
much.
You can reach us to Alpha Planet Fan Club.
Well, boys, what a great episode. I had a lot of fun with this one. Let's close out like we always do, our favorite segment, the best food we had this week. Chance wants to go number one. He must have something good. So we'll go Chance, then we'll go me, and then we'll close out with Chipobear. Let's hear it, Chance.
Yeah, and this might be controversial because I know people like to be foodies, right? And if you go to a chain restaurant, then you're a terrible human being. But I'm against that. I think oldies but goodies are a thing. And we had Village Inn yesterday morning breakfast. Got the ultimate skillet with scrambled eggs. Comes with onions, ham, bacon, sausage, everything on there. You can't mess that up. Or I mean, I guess you can, but I get it every time. It's always good. And shout out to Village Inn, like I don't have to, not talking crap about Chipotle, but I don't have to go to Snooze and wait in line for 7.5 hours to get good breakfast, right? And I know you kind of mentioned that, Chipotle, right? You were like, well, it's great, but,
Yeah, I love Village Inn too. Did Cora steal any jelly packets? That's what my kids always take.
So no, because this one was suffering some major COVID setbacks in terms of staffing, and so it was they brought the jelly out to you just 2 at a time, which is probably sensible anyway. But
yeah, how much jelly is too much jelly?
Yeah, gotta love that COVID. I'm over this crap. So guys, here. Usually, this would be a top food for me any other given week, all right? But I had a bad experience. So I had Buffalo Wild Wings. I believe it was either Sunday or Monday. Did I talk about this last week? Did I mention it? Okay.
Dan, you talked about it last segment.
Okay. So we need to follow up on this. I said it was my best food. The next day or that night, I had acidic, hot caca diarrhea for almost 2 days, broke out in a fever, had body aches. Okay. And I'm very confused as to why. I only had 15 wings. We talked about this. 8 Asian
only 15 wings.
Mango habanero. Okay.
Only 15.
It was to the point
Can't figure
where
out why.
I went and got a COVID test for this Delta variant plus because I was so concerned. I had the rapid test and the normal nose one. Both came back negative. All right. The vaccine works. So after that, feeling decent. I did mess up my neck because I was sleeping on my neck all wrong from this acidic caca diarrhea, but got over it. We had a team meeting on Friday, right before the back to school kickoff. Roy, you missed for APS. You missed out on that chance. We went to Sam's number 3. Have you guys been to Sam's number 3?
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yes. So I had Spiro's breakfast burrito. It's delicious, you guys. It was one of the best breakfast burritos I've had in a long time. And I'm looking at the menu. I even went and looked it up to make sure I had the name right. It's eggs, home fries, and a flour tortilla smothered in our famous pork green chili and topped with melted cheddar cheese. $11.99. I added bacon, and it was during their breakfast happy hour, so it was actually only $12.99. Delicious, amazing breakfast burrito. I would, from now on, whenever we go there for team meetings, I'm gonna get it every time. I hadn't had it before. I'd always usually get eggs, bacon, pancakes, good stuff like Chance mentions. Shout out to Sam's number 3 and Spiro's breakfast burrito. But guys, the best food I had this week just happened today. And like Chance, people like to be foodies. People like to caca, the everyday working man's restaurant. We ordered Chili's to go. And I got myself some shrimp fajitas. And my God, you guys, they hooked me up. So much so much shrimp. So delicious. The chips and salsa, so good. Shout out to Chili's for a fantastic dinner that I had tonight. So
I love a good Chili's dinner.
Every time I go, it never lets me down. And it's because that's why they're the best. That's why they're a chain. They're just consistent and I can rely on them. And it's their salsa. It's so simple. It's mostly tomato paste and some sort of peppers in there. Who knows?
Water is
yeah,
the
exactly. Yeah, I know. But it's so good. And their chips. So shout out to Chili's. I love their fajitas. Jose, close it off with the best food you had this week.
So yesterday we were actually at a wedding my niece-in-law who got married. She's actually the one that introduced me to my wife. So lots of very grateful to her. But it was her wedding, and they did biscuits. They had a brunch wedding, so it's biscuits and gravy and eggs. Super good. We also had biscuits and gravy on Thursday this week in our own household. Thursday is dad's night to cook, so I made biscuits and gravy. Delicious. But the number one thing I had this week was actually on Friday at work. It was our last day in the main office before all our teachers and everybody come back. And so it's a tradition that we all have lunch together. And so we ordered pizza from the Garlic Knot in Lakewood. If you've ever had the Garlic Knot, super cool restaurant. If you love garlic, especially, I'm sure the name implies that, but really, really good pizza.
Delicious.
We had the Chelsea, which is basically sausage, bacon, and pepperoni. Very healthy, let me tell you, but delicious. So again, if you're in the Southwest Denver area, if you're new 285 in Wadsworth, check out Garlic Knot. Their garlic knots are also really good too, for the record. But we had pizza. That was the best thing I ate this week, man. Excited for another week.
Nice.
It reminds me of your Hold the Biscuits story.
Yep, I'll tell that one another time for sure. Hold the biscuits.
Can I have to add too, in DWALLY, because you're over my way. Alameda and Chambers has that whole new area. Have you seen that? I had no idea. It's like super bougie now and stuff. And there's a Chiba Hut over there. And I hadn't ever had a Chiba Hut before, and I got it was called the THC sub. So it was turkey, hummus, and cheddar, and it was unbelievable. And it would have made my best food of the week. It cost me $19.
That's
It was
value's got to be a part of it, right?
8-inch sub and one and it was fantastic. Fruity Pebbles Rice Krispie treat, which was incredible. But again, $19. Come on, what are we?
But you
Is
did
this
say
LA?
it was
That's
really
expensive,
good. But
dude.
no, I agree. I've never had that
for
chance.
an 8-inch sub. Oh
8-inch
my God.
and a water that a free water, and yeah,
You wouldn't splurge the $1.43 for a drink after the $19 sub.
Well, he's counting his calories. Water.
No, you know what? And what's funny? So it was one of our students was checking us out, and he actually hooked it up a little bit, but he was like, oh, here's you could go get the Kool-Aid, because they have Kool-Aid on tap there, which is great. But come on, $19.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's overpriced. But I'll check it out, Chance. No, I didn't know about that. I also wanted to say Garlic Knot, Jose. There is one right off of Alameda and Green Mountain, basically at the Safeway. There's one there. So shout out.
I didn't know
Garlic.
that.
Yeah, it's
I like
a small
garlic.
one.
Where the Pudge Brothers used to be.
Yeah, I think so. Delicious pizza, and the Garlic Knots, obviously, get them both. So I just love their standard plain cheese pizza there. So, guys, thank you so much. This has been Xbox Record This, episode 14. You can always follow the show at Xbox Record This across various social media. You can check out the website, xboxrecordthis.com. Jose, where can people find you? And if you got anything special going on, let us know.
You can always find me at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. Feel free to reach out, ask any questions. Now that Lauren has opened the door for really anything to be asked, not necessarily related to video games, don't hold back. You can also find me at Chipotle_bear on Instagram. And again, just happy to be here, guys. It's crazy. We're almost at 15 episodes just doing this together, and excited for another school year. I'm sure we'll have many more experiences and stories as we move through this year of COVID. But all we can do is take it a day at a time. That's all I got to say.
Bubble Boy, what about you, my friend?
As always, you can find me nowhere, but you can find the tag of @BubbleBoy7 secured across some or a couple of social medias. I don't really know. I don't really care. See you online?
As always, gentlemen.
Damn it.
See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Oh my gosh. Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy DWALLY on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.